This is We've Been Drinking MMA. I am talking about the Ashley Yoder versus Emily Ducote fight, and my decision on this is the method of victory is going to be decision.
Yep.
Nobody's finishing anybody.
Yeah, for me, I agree. My tentative pick in this fight with two pillow-handed fighters. My tentative pick, this is backhand. My pick is Emily Ducote, but I agree. I believe it's going the distance because they both have pillow hands. And they can't finish each other. And the only reason I'm going to say tentative Ducote is because she kicks harder. That's it, to the legs. But Yoder's got pillow feet, too, so that's the only reason is that I'm picking Ducote. But going the distance, probably going to put some money on it, but because it's just going the distance. But we'll see the price. If it's like minus $1,000, $1,000 to make 100 on going the distance, obviously I'll just leave it alone. So
minus 300 on this fight is ridiculous.
Minus 300 for Emily Ducote.
That's ridiculous.
Why though? Why would you want to do that? Why? The point is like, why would you want to bet on somebody who is not gonna really hurt the other fighter, and the other fighter has more fights in the UFC? So it's kind of like she's, whatever. It's kind of one of those fights where you're like, okay, 50-50. All right, they're probably not gonna do any damage at all.
I think this is why. Ashley Yoder's last fight was 2 years ago.
Fair enough.
And she's lost her last 2 out of 3. Actually,
2 out of
4 to 5.
She's 1-4 in her last 5 fights, and yeah, there you go.
That's probably why, right there.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other girl, Emily Ducote, is 1-2 in the UFC. 1-2.
All decisions in the UFC.
Yeah.
And let's look at Yoder's last 6.
All decisions.
Last 6 in her. Actually, a lot more than that. Yeah. But it's like almost all decisions for Yoder and every single fight for Ducote.
9 fights and 9 decisions for Yoder. 3 fights and 3 decisions for Ducote. It's all decisions. Yeah. In the UFC.
So method of victory, decision. That's pretty easy right there.
That's it, man. Both of them have no power in their punches, and that's it. Ducote moves a little bit better, and her leg kicks are a little bit more powerful, and that's the only reason I would pick Ducote. But
that's going on my parlay right there.
What? They're going the distance.
Going distance.
Yeah, for sure. I hope it's something like minus 400 or something. I know it's going to be expensive, obviously, when it's this obvious, but it's got to happen, and parlay makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Definitely.
If you want to put money on this fight, which I guess you could.
You could.
But like the most obvious blaring thing that's pointing out to me,
100% decision rate.
It's the way these people are either losing or winning is by decision.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's pretty easy right there.
I'm going with 100%. It's 100% fact. It's the fact is it's 100% chance or 100% in their history that in the UFC that all their fights have gone to decision 100% of the time. So easy pick that it's going to decision. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks, everybody.
As we've been drinking MMA, we are breaking down the UFC Fight Night Barboza Yusuff fight card. This is the third fight on the prelims. It's Chris Gutierrez versus, I'm going to try and pronounce his name, it's Alekseeva from China. And it's at bantamweight, 135 pounds. My pick as a backhand is going to be Chris Gutierrez.
My pick is Chris Gutierrez. I think this fight's actually going to go all 3 rounds. They're both defensive fighters.
Yeah.
They're not first to punch. Mm-hmm. Even when they hurt somebody, they're not quick for the kill. So Chris Gutierrez likes to do that spinning flare stuff.
Yep.
He does a lot of feints with fake punching and then the hip twists that he does for the fake kicks.
Mm-hmm. Like,
these guys aren't volume strikers. Yeah. These guys aren't power strikers. What else? Do these guys grapple a lot? Not really.
Not really.
So it's going to be a defensive, in out 1-2, maybe a grapple against the fence, push off 1-2. 1-2.
I see Alekseeva going forward, taking the center of the octagon. Gutierrez likes to back up. And
he likes that outside.
He likes the outside and tried to counter here and there, but really mostly just leg kicks.
Legs kick, yeah.
Loved leg kicks.
He loves those kicks in general.
He used to be kind of doing everything, and now it's just he's just zeroed in on the leg kicks. When he starts throwing again, it's going to be a good thing for Gutierrez fans. But right now, he's just really just throwing those leg kicks, and then he does a little hip hesitations, the hip feints, like he's gonna go through for the kick, and then he kind of fakes you out, and then he goes for the leg kick, and he's fast. Gutierrez is fast, I would say, backing up and stuff. But Alatanjili a little bit slower going forward, and that's why Gutierrez is going to be able to kick him all night, and Alatanjili kind of stands a little close, but also at the same time he's defensive. So like Lousy said, it's kind of one of those fights where non-committal is kind of like the theme of this fight of how it's going to go, I feel. Because Alatanjili, even though he has some power, doesn't throw that much enough. He throws some combinations here and there, and then he'll just kind of all of a sudden be defensive for like half a round. And just
like, I don't have like enough confidence to put money on this fight.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, if I were to be Gutierrez and going distance,
Gutierrez by decision.
Yeah,
and again, it's going to be good to see the prices. Let's see the prices. I mean, this fight got announced recently because Gutierrez on his last fight, it got canceled.
Yeah.
I think Montel Jackson pulled out from an injury or something, and so Gutierrez, so he just got booked, and this is 2 weeks later, a week later, and he's got another fight booked. So it's a short fight on short notice. A fight on short notice is always dangerous because he hasn't been preparing for this new fighter. It's a
two weight cuts.
2 weight cuts is dangerous.
In a short amount of time like that,
man. So yeah, I mean, this is one of those fights where there's so many question marks that not really much reason to put it on the parlay, even not much reason to put any money on it for me or Lousy. So we're like, all right, let's just kind of see how it goes. And maybe a live bet if you can see kind of like, Gutierrez adapting well. But overall, it's going to probably price is going to be too high anyway. So this is kind of a weird card right here just because, a lot of distance bets and this fight is just a short notice type of weird fight. So, another situation, we're just going to let it go probably. So,
yeah. If you aren't comfortable with betting a certain fight, if you are betting, just don't bet it.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
I think the main thing is that in investing in general, it's kind of like it's not about the money you make, it's about the money that you keep.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want to lose money unnecessarily on fights that you're just unsure about. Like Lousy last week was saying on the Murata fight that let's see if both of our arms are good. That left arm was broken from the previous fight from Jandiroba, and the arm wasn't looking that great. So you could just ditch the bet, and she ended up. Some people thought she won. I thought she won, obviously, but the judges scored it for the other woman, and just in general, though, when you only have one arm confident with it, it's kind of tough to put money on a fighter like that. So sometimes it's good to just live bet or just stay away from it because it's just going to lose you money rather than be a good situation, good position for you to make money. So it's about keeping your money and not losing it necessarily.
Like for poker, like you don't lose what you don't put in the middle.
Right.
You know
Mike McDermott said that from Rounders. And it's a legendary line that's totally true in all forms of investing. So that's the main thing is that's I think that's what we're all focused on is trying to keep our money. We're going to make money on certain great style matchups. Karolina Kowalkiewicz last week, we were very high on her. She won 30-27 on all the scorecards. Won all 3 rounds, so, you can make money on those fights, but it's the fights like the 50-50 fights or the fights you're not sure about because they don't punch with enough power or whatever, and it's like, why even bet those? So, it's another one of those fights where we're like, well, there's a lot of question marks. We don't know exactly. No shame in that. We're just moving on.
Yep.
To the next one.
Like, subscribe, comment. Let's see that algorithm go in our favor, all right?
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
As we've been drinking MMA, we are predicting the fight night for October 14th. Or is it October 14th? I believe it is. It's going to be the Yusuff Barboza fight night. And this is the 4th fight on the prelims. Irina Alekseeva at bantamweight, 135 pounds, versus Melissa Dixon. And this is backhand. My prediction, again, tentatively, is Irina Alekseeva.
My pick is Irina Alekseeva as well. Alekseeva is a karate style samba fighter who in her last fight she was 5 pounds overweight.
Wow.
Isn't that fun to know?
And that's her only. She has one fight in the UFC.
One
and she
fight
was
in the
overweight.
UFC and she was overweight. So that puts you in the mindset of like how professional she is.
Right.
But when she gets punched, she turns into a brawler.
Yeah, she does.
And she's fighting a much more technical striker. From what I've seen, anyway, Melissa Dixon.
I think it's a girl who throws punches to go for the takedowns and clinch you against the fence.
Yeah.
It's that type of a fighter. She's minus $150 to make $100 on Melissa Dixon. And she has no fights in the UFC, but she is undefeated 5-0.
Yes.
But it's 3 finishes and 2 decisions, so it's not like she's like a killer. She's just kind of a wrestler.
But she can knock out people.
Yeah.
And all her knockouts are in the first round, too. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's one of those fights where I've just kind of and I'm just sticking to it that if there's a fighter that hasn't fought in the UFC, it's just so hard to predict how they're gonna fight in the UFC. I'll bet against them, but the problem is that the person that we're picking here only has one fight in the UFC as well. So I want to see a fighter that has at least 2 wins before I can put my hard-earned money on them. And Irina missed weight by 5 pounds, and not even that. She just has one fight in the UFC. It was a good win over a 3-3 fighter, but it's still just one win. And so for me, the pick is Irina Alekseeva, but again, it's all about keeping our money. And not trying to lose money on unnecessarily.
But I am going to be a fan for this fight.
I'm going to be watching this fight. It's going to be an interesting fight for sure. Yeah.
So thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, comment.
Hey, this is We Been Drinking MMA, and we are predicting the first fight on the prelims for Fight Night, UFC Fight Night, Barboza, Yusuff. And this is the first fight, Tainara Lisboa versus Ravena Oliveira Moraes at 135
A lot of hyphens in that name.
This is backhand. My pick, tentatively, of course, is going to be Tainara Lisboa.
And my pick is going to be Tainara Lisboa too, but probably going the distance is probably the smart bet here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm probably not going to put any money on it because I never heard of either one of these fighters, and they're fairly new, and I don't want to put on fighters that I don't really know that well.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if these fighters had some fights in the UFC, we could know, okay, what's their IQ, what's their level when they hit a fight in the UFC. But only one of them, Lisboa, has one fight in the UFC, and the other woman, Ravena Oliveira Moraes, doesn't have any fights in the UFC. So picking Lisboa, but ultimately I'm thinking that it probably goes a distance, but ultimately there wasn't much information on Oliveira Moraes, because, you know, just had to see some stuff on YouTube from 3 fights ago. She could have improved. You know, what if she got better at striking? What if she's, you know, who knows? So It's one of those fights where I'm not putting any money on it. Tentative pick is Lisboa, just from what I've seen, and there's not much that I've seen. So I normally I would think, you know, this fight is going to go the distance, but I'm not going to put money on that because I couldn't even get the last 2 fights from the opponent. So it's going with Lisboa tentatively.
I'm going the same, Lisboa as well, and if you want to sprinkle a little bit of going the distance, because I don't think either one of these fighters can actually finish anybody.
Right.
But because of looking at Lisboa, and you don't know what you're going to get with a new debut fighter, so.
Exactly.
But like, I'll probably stay away from this, so that's my decision. So.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
And by the way, thank you for the comments, everybody. That was really cool to see and actually know that we have fans out there, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a fun event, and it was way more fun because all of you showed the love with the likes, subscribes, the comments were amazing, and just glad that everyone is hopefully enjoying it, and that, you know, we all just build this community together and have fun, you know, share our opinions and stuff about MMA, sport we love.
Yeah. This is We've Been Drinking MMA. We are talking about the main prelim fight on the Yusuff Barboza card, and it's Darren Elkins versus TJ Brown. I'm going TJ Brown.
Yep, me too. This is back end. I'm going with TJ Brown as well. He's at both of our picks.
Yes. TJ Brown, he can throw. Let's just say it like that. He doesn't mind getting hit either.
Yeah.
Elkins, he doesn't mind getting hit. This is going to be a phone. Both of them are probably going to be bloody. What do you think about that?
Yes, there's a high chance. And
at least
specifically, Darren Elkins is going to be bloody.
Elkins is the least going to get
he got bloody in the first minute of his last fight
yes.
with Jonathan Pierce. And it's just like, how is this happening this early?
Yes.
When you're not even really throwing anything with power. No power punches.
It's not like Pierce is a barn burner for throwing either.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Brown can leg kick. He sets a good forward pace. That's a good reason because he throws and he sets that pace. And Elkins is getting of a man of a certain age, if you want to call it that.
39 years old.
He's slowing down
He's slowing down, and he's a guy, his name is Damages. His nickname is Damages, and he's taken a lot of damage over his career.
Yes.
So you can tell all the damage in the practices that he's taken, in the octagon, in the fights. it's made him into a slower fighter. He's
Yes.
much slower than he used to be when he was in his late 20s, early 30s. So he's slow at this point in his career. And TJ Brown is just a little bit faster.
Yeah.
We're not even saying TJ Brown is fast, but the fact that he's faster than Darren, big problem in this matchup.
Yeah.
TJ Brown hits with more power, throws more. That's a problem.
He throws with intention.
The leg kicks are more powerful and more active than Darren. I wasn't even seeing Darren really throw too many leg kicks. What Darren is trying to do is trying to take you down.
Yes.
At this point in his career.
Yes. He can wrestle. The thing is about TJ Brown is like he can be taken down.
Right.
But he can get back up.
Man,
we've seen that with the Bill Algeo fight.
Man, and in other fights too, but Bill Algeo specifically, he got taken down. He traps the shoulder, does a shoulder lock, a Kimura, and literally
puts himself in a better position.
Literally is able to get up off the ground like one of the pound for pound greats of all time, Fedor Emelianenko. When Fedor would get taken down, and he would start going for submissions like Kimura, shoulder locks, and things like that. And all of a sudden, the other guy's like, "Oh damn!" And then all of a sudden, Fedor is like, "Okay, I'm up." Yeah. And that's what TJ did. I think TJ has probably studied Fedor and goes, "That's my guy I look up to. I'm going to learn from him." And TJ is phenomenal off of his back for a big strong guy, power puncher kind of guy. He has phenomenal submissions. Very active, very quick with the submissions, and very sneaky.
Yep. I think this is a might be a lock.
So what we're saying is that even if Darren Elkins can get him down, which we're thinking is he probably should, and it probably will happen. TJ can get up really easily because he can go for a lot of submissions and then threaten Darren, possibly even submit Darren at this age. I mean, we saw that armbar that he had against Bill Algeo. It was close. Yeah. It was tight. It was almost in. It just didn't have the quite right angle. And Bill Algeo, as we know,
right angle, yeah.
Bill Algeo is a phenomenal athlete, and we saw what Bill Algeo did last weekend, and he beat Alex Hernandez and won all 3 rounds, knocked him down in the second. We're talking about Bill Algeo being a top 15 fighter, and guess what? TJ Brown got up off the ground easily with trying to submit him with the armbar and got up. And guess what? TJ Brown had him rocked.
Yeah,
he had him shook, and in the second round against
he
Bill
wasn't
Algeo,
patient with the finish. He wasn't patient.
Exactly. Bill Algeo was doing his thing, in and out type of looking for sneaky shots. TJ Brown did a throw. He threw a check punch, which means he just went for a punch just to check, make sure that the other guy's not going to come in on him, and it just landed on Bill flush, and Bill, it shook Bill as he backed up a little bit. TJ got a little overexcited and threw a big winging, slow, loaded up power punch overhand with his left, and Bill just clipped him with a big left elbow, quick inside elbow like that, boom, quickly, and just intercepted TJ. And TJ went down, and then that was basically it. He got choked out. But basically what we're saying is that if TJ doesn't rush in on him, he probably wins the second round versus Bill. And then third round, it's anybody's fight. So he could have basically won a fight or had a 50-50, very close fight with a guy who we think is in the top 15. I think Bill Algeo against Alex Hernandez proved that he should be top 15 after that fight.
Yes.
Dominant victory with a knockdown in the second. And that's the skill level of TJ Brown is that even though he's only 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Again, the Bill Algeo fight that he just lost in his last fight easily could have been a win, and then he'd be 4-1. And the other guy we're saying is 3-2, also in his last 5, Elkins. But Elkins has also had 4 losses before that, so he's actually 3-6 in his last 9 fights. So my point is that Elkins, is doing okay, but as he gets older, he's getting slower. His top control when he takes you down is getting worse. TJ Brown is entering or is in the prime at 33 years old, more so, and has the ability to get up by throwing the submissions against good grapplers and fast fighters. And Darren's just not fast enough. The top control is not there. TJ can get up off the ground. TJ can go 50-50 in a fight, have a chance to win against in a 50-50 fight versus a top 15 fighter, Bill Algeo. We love TJ Brown's chances, and we're very high on TJ Brown to win this fight versus Darren Elkins. TJ Brown is only minus 190, $190 to make 100. We think it's really good value here, and we're excited about this fight. Can't wait till it goes down. And this is the prelim of the main event of the prelim, so it's gonna be exciting. TJ Brown deserves the slot, like we said. He's really turning into a really, really, really good fighter, and very excited to see him perform.
Yep, TJ Brown for the win. This is We've Been Drinking MMA. We are talking about the first fight on the main card, Cameron Saaiman versus Christian Rodriguez. I am going Christian Rodriguez, maybe with a sprinkle of going the distance. I don't know yet. But what do you think about that backhand?
Man, Yeah, my prediction is that it's going all 3 rounds, going the distance. So that's going to be my bet that I place on this fight. As far as a tentative pick, it's really, really hard to say for me, just because, Saaiman has the leg kicks, has the, I guess, aggression, you could say. But then Rodriguez is quick inside the pocket with the head movement. And, if Saaiman goes for the takedown, if Rodriguez goes for the takedown, what Rodriguez did to Rosas in the grappling. Able to turn it around, get on top, and Saaiman,
derailed that hype train.
Yeah, and this is another guy who doesn't have the same hype as Rosas, but Saaiman is 22 years old, 9-0, undefeated. 3 KOs in his last 5, but those KOs are on the ground and against fighters who just really weren't that great on the ground. And Rodriguez, as we know, what he did against Rosas on the ground was amazing. Fast off his back, really, really quick twitch on the ground. And so I guess tentatively I would say maybe Saaiman, but it really doesn't matter because Saaiman's not throwing with enough power, in my opinion. And the only way
not in his hands anyway.
Exactly. He got good leg kicks. He's a young kid developing. Trying to be aggressive, but Rodriguez is not going to counterpunch KO him or anything like that either. So I feel like on the feet it's just kind of like neutralized-ish. Saaiman slight advantage, and then if it somehow goes to the ground, if Rodriguez wants to take it to the ground, guess what? He can top control Saaiman. Is pretty good at getting back to his feet, so it's going to be it could be some grapple fest going on. It could be a little bit of leg kicking here and there. I just don't really like actually putting money on an actual fighter in this fight. In my opinion, even if I was picking Saaiman, let's say I guess I am in this case leaning towards Saaiman, I can't bet him because he's got pillow hands. He just doesn't throw with enough power, so he's not going to finish Rodriguez. And the only way Saaiman's going to finish him is if it's on the ground and with ground and pound. But Rodriguez is too slick off the back. He's too quick, and he showed he can turn it around on Rosas and get on top. So it's going to turn in, if it does go on the ground for the possible finish, Rodriguez easily turns it around and grapples and gets dirty, and it's a messy fight, and it goes to decision.
The only way that I see Saaiman winning this fight is he keeps his kicking range, and he doesn't allow Rodriguez to get inside and stand and grapple with him. Because if that happens, I think Rodriguez is going to have a very, very easy time. But if Saaiman is actually able to get his kicks off, because he can kick.
Yeah.
He throws with attention when he kicks.
We saw what Saaiman did with Terrence Mitchell. Terrence Mitchell took him down. Saaiman was really good, very calm under pressure in there on the ground and able to get back up. Good with the wrist control and very calm, like we said. And, so Saaiman, I think he can have it's hard I don't really see Rodriguez just subbing Saaiman either. So that's why I don't really see a path to finish for either guy in all likelihood. That I really just see it going the distance in every way. No subs, no KOs, because of just how they KO and how they sub. It's just not going to work against each other. So I see it being a style matchup that goes the distance. I'm excited to see what's the over 2 round prop bet
going to round 3 type thing.
Yeah, like going to round 3 maybe, because there might be a sub late or maybe a weird TKO or something if it does happen, or just going all 3 rounds is really what I'm really thinking. I'm hoping for all 3 rounds because Saaiman has a lot of TKOs against guys who are not that good on the ground. And then Rodriguez has 2 subs in his last 5 fights against fighters who are just, again, not that great on the ground. They have a decent finish rate, so we have a good chance to make the all 3 rounds be like maybe minus 120 or something like that, 120 to make 100. I'm hoping that'll be the odds. And let's see what happens. I'm excited to see what the odds are when it comes out, but I really see this being kind of like grapple fest and kind of just back and forth, much ado about nothing. But I'm excited to see how Saaiman is progressing, and I'm excited to see Rodriguez kind of perform with the he's so fast off his back, right? What he did to Rosas, I'm just a fan. We're just fans of him because he's just like so quick off the back.
Because you expected something on a Rosas,
with the submissions,
and then Rodriguez no shot.
It was amazing. It was just like, dude, he's so confident. You don't see that many guys who get taken down. How quick they are about twitching to get back up and to turn.
Sprawling.
You don't see people like that. So it's a guy who's really good at he's a specialist. I mean, I'm not saying he's a specialist, but that is his maybe greatest weapon, is the fact that he can easily out-grapple somebody when he gets taken down. It's kind of a weird situation, so it's kind of cool to see a fighter with a kind of a special ability you don't see every day. So excited to see him perform, excited to see Saaiman and see if his striking's improved a little bit. But
it's going to be a fun fight to watch. I'm going Rodriguez.
I'm going with Saaiman tentatively, but ultimately we're both, I think, betting it goes all 3 rounds.
I think we're in agreement about that, yeah. No problems.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Like, subscribe, comment.
Yes.
Appreciate you. Hey, so we've been drinking MMA. We are breaking down and predicting the Yusuff Barboza fight night for UFC fight card, and this is the second fight on the main card. It is Edgar Chairez versus Daniel Lacerda. We're running it back. They just fought a few weeks ago, or was it a month ago?
Yeah, not that long ago.
September 16th.
2 weeks ago?
Yep. And it ended up in a draw. It was weird because Chairez had a...
I would say anaconda choke?
Anaconda choke. Standing anaconda choke. Standing Darce choke. And Lacerda had his arm was okay, and then all of a sudden the ref was checking it again, and then it was fine, and then it just went limp for a split second, and the ref's like, okay, I guess you're out. But the ref didn't actually try and look at it, try and touch the arm and see if it was limp. He's just like, oh, well, I tried it twice, and now it looks limp, so I'm going to assume he's asleep. And then, Chairez let go of the choke, and then Lacerda was like, hey.
Yeah, that just opens the door for the... Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, if
you check your arm twice, and then you let your arm go actually limp.
I think we were talking about this earlier. Like, if a ref is checking on you to see if you're conscious, and your first reaction is to let your arm go limp, I mean that's ridiculous.
You're asking to lose the fight.
I mean, come on. And let's have common sense.
Yeah. So I mean, to be fair, Lacerda is 0-4 when that fight happened. 0-4 in the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew that was probably his last fight, and I think what he was maybe trying to do, I'm not going to speculate too much, but it could have been that he was just trying to have like a draw so he could have just one more fight so he could go collect some more sponsor money or whatever it is and be like, hey, I fight in the UFC or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so sketchy. It was so sketchy. And he felt the ref check his arm twice. Once, 2 seconds later, check it again, and then he let it go limp, and then he knows the ref's going to call the fight.
Well, the first time he pulled up and then pulled against the Edgar.
Yeah.
He pushed against Edgar. And the second time he pulled, and then his arm went limp.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. The ref checked it once, checked it twice. Third time, Lacerda, he didn't have to check it. Lacerda's arm just went limp.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I guess Lacerda's finished. He's asleep. And Lacerda, and then Chairez let the choke go because he thought he won, obviously, and the ref thought he won too. And then Lacerda's like, hey, that's not right, and it's like, dude, come on, you're 0-4 on your last fight, most likely. Listen, if you're 0-4, you probably should have been released already.
Yes.
But he's got a good capoeira.
By finish,
but he's got good capoeira kicks, very flashy with the spinning kicks. Doesn't have
dangerous in that first round.
Yeah, he can be dangerous, but he is 0-4, and all 4 he's been knocked out or submitted, all finishes. So, the guy's just, he was, I think, afraid, and he wanted another fight. Here you go. He's running it back with Chairez.
The same fighter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fight that we're not going to put money on. Listen, neither of them have one win in the UFC. They're all, Chairez is 0-1 and 1 because of the draw, and then Lacerda is 0-4 and 1 because of the draw. So it's not a fight that you can really pick who's going to win. And I wouldn't even pick going the distance because Lacerda is got gas tank issues and he gets finished every fight. So it's one of those fights.
And Chairez makes weird decisions like pulling guard.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
I personally think that the UFC is like, listen, we're going to give you 1 week, cut weight again in what is this, 2 weeks now, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
This is insane for both fighters. I think the UFC just basically wants both fighters, or at least Lacerda, to be gone quickly because they're sick of, they owe him a fight. Yes. And they're like, okay, well, technically you were able to be like, hey, that's not right, whatever. And the UFC's like, you know what? I don't care. We're going to book you 3 weeks again, and hopefully you're out of here after this. This is what I think they're doing.
Well, especially if he loses in the same way.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Like, if he actually gets re-naked choked, like, there's no way you can keep a guy that's had 5 fights, and every single fight he's been
at this point, UFC doesn't want to look bad. Like, UFC might look bad and be like, oh, but it was controversial, and then you let him go. So UFC is just doing this for PR, in my opinion.
I mean, I guess it's kind of controversial.
It's just weird, right?
But, I mean, there's no common sense. There's no fight IQ. When it comes to Lacerda.
no fight IQ. No,
I mean, in that particular instance.
Right.
There's no IQ as far as, like, a ref's checking you and you let your arm go limp.
Yeah. Yeah, that is why both of us tentatively are picking Chairez, just because Lacerda's fight IQ is suspect.
We are, I'm picking Edgar as well, but like money going in on
He's not going to ruin our parlay. He's 0-1 and 1, and Lacerda 0-4 and 1. So
you never know when those kicks might land, those spinning kicks. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Lacerda's throwing these spinning capoeira kicks. They could land maybe, but again, he's not really like purposeful. He's just getting punched to the body. He's getting kicked to the leg, and then he throws something. It's just not very purposeful with his strategy. strategy. And Edgar Chairez is, throwing leg kicks with more power, but maybe not as often. And then his punches are not so great. And then he'll punch the body once in a while. So
when he's countering strikes, he throws heat.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe Chairez with the better IQ and maybe slightly more power on the punches, and Lacerda, we talked about him. So
yeah.
I'm just looking forward to this fight being over and this saga being over.
Yeah. I just want this particular show to be canceled. Yeah.
Yeah, same. I really don't. I don't care to really watch it. It's just gonna happen, and maybe I'm gonna make some popcorn, make some food during the break.
Yeah, get yourself that sandwich.
Get some drinks. Yeah. We've been drinking MMA.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening.
Like, subscribe, comment.
This is We've Been Drinking MMA. We are breaking down the Yusuff Barboza UFC Fight Night card. This is the main card now, and this is the third fight on it. It is Jonathan Martinez versus Adrian Yanez. Both are ranked fighters, so we're looking forward to this. This is our fight of the night for us.
In my opinion, yes.
No, yeah, definitely. It's like they're going to be throwing. They're going to be active. Yanez is a first-round monster. Martinez is got so much fighting spirit in him. But anyways, this is at bantamweight, 135 pounds. This is backhand. My pick is Jonathan Martinez.
This is Curtis. My pick is Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez last fight, he had a KO loss to the best jab in the game, Rob Font.
Yep.
He's a patient counter striker, maybe to a fault how patient he is. He waits in the pocket to counter you.
Mm-hmm.
But he closes distance on a kickboxer, so that Martinez is going to have a problem with that Muay Thai kickboxing style that he has. He can throw in the phone booth. In fact, he likes those fights. He likes to get bloody. His head movement is good, and I just really like how hard he throws, how good of a boxer he is. I know this is not a boxing fight. This is an MMA fight, but he's just so good with his striking.
Mm-hmm. He's 6-1 in the UFC, Adrian Yanez, and the only loss is to a guy who honestly should have probably fought for the belt by now, Font, with his skills.
Yes.
He just lost against like certain fighters that he needed to beat, and very close fights that he easily could have won against Aldo and against Cheeto Vera. So if Rob Font did win those close fights, he easily would have already fought for the title by now. Anyways, he beat Yanez in the first round. And other than that, Yanez has a clean record of 6-1, right? So a 5 KOs out of the 6 wins, by the way. Yeah. A bunch of them in the first round. Dangerous puncher, fast puncher with combinations. So for me, Jonathan Martinez is a guy who I actually picked against last time against Said Nurmagomedov. And Nurmagomedov was ranked number 14. Martinez wasn't ranked, and Martinez brought the fire.
Yes.
In that, we both thought it was going to be fight of the night.
Yes.
And that's what it was.
It was a very fun fight to watch.
Very fun fight, and that was fun doing the research for this fight, and with that fight with Martinez versus Said Nurmagomedov. But if you look at it, what's his name? Jonathan Martinez is 5-0 in his last 5 fights in the UFC. He's got a couple losses, 3 losses in the UFC, and he is 9-3. Thing is, he did get KO'd about 2 years ago against Davy Grant in the second round, and Adrian Yanez has a split decision win over Davy Grant, the guy who KO'd Jonathan Martinez. So that is one of those things where you do some MMA math, and that could spell a little bit of danger in the stats looking back in the history. But after that fight that Martinez got knocked out by Davy Grant, he's gone 5-0, and all decisions except for 1 KO against Cub Swanson, but it's a TKO from leg kicks, right?
Yeah, leg kick. KO.
Leg kick extravaganza on Cub Swanson, and Cub Swanson is a little bit of an aging fighter, and obviously Cub Swanson is a guy who is killer be killed type fighter, and he's taken a lot of damage on the legs over a career, and Martinez just has gotten better at leg kicks, faster at leg kicks, more damage with the leg kicks, and he just kept throwing it and it worked. So my point is Martinez is more of a decision fighter, and Yanez is a KO monster. That's it. That's how it goes with the looking at the stats.
Boxer versus patient kickboxer.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And so this is my reasoning for Martinez. Is it's gonna be fight of the night. It's gonna be a very fun fight. But for me, Jonathan Martinez keeps the better distance control. Not that much better though, right? Because Martinez likes to be aggressive too. Sometimes he's getting kicked and stuff too. But for me, he manipulates the distance kind of a little bit good. He doesn't stand too close, doesn't stand too far. Sometimes he gets a little too aggressive here and there, but
This is
overall pretty good.
This is how somebody wins. Is the distance control.
Distance is sometimes how you can win it, and especially if you're a decision fighter like Jonathan Martinez, that's how you win.
Yeah.
You know, when he got knocked out by Davy Grant, that's when he used to stand too close, and then he'd just be kind of chucking these check hooks, and then Davy Grant throwing these like straight punches down the pipe, and it just boom, power punch, and the Martinez is not even halfway through the swing of the hook, the check hook, and he's already knocked out.
Fastest way to a point, right?
Yeah, a straight line. So Jonathan Martinez has now he doesn't just chuck hooks like he used to. Now he'll throw some straight punches. He'll leap in with some punches and back out. And he's more of a kicker though, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a Muay Thai kickboxer. I really like Martinez's cardio too.
Oh God, man! I mean, Saaiman Nurmagomedov, he was on the ground. You know, had Martinez on the ground.
He just didn't care. Like, let's go.
Martinez was active off his back. He was throwing elbows, punches. And in this, with judging how it is now, Martinez is going to win more fights than he ever used to in the past. And he's already on a 5-0 record in his last 5. So I think Martinez, even if he gets taken out by some talented wrestlers, Martinez can still win the rounds because he's elbowing the shit out of him. And he's so aggressive, and he's got so much heart, so much instinct. He knows how to get up off the ground as well and really create space. He's got so much heart, like I said, and instinct.
Yanez is definitely not going to
grappling.
To have this game in like a lay and pray type fight. There's no way.
I mean, Martinez might be smart to take down Yanez. Maybe.
Yeah, other way around for sure.
That would be smart because you're gonna. Okay, so look, in my opinion, Jonathan Martinez is better with the distance control. He is throwing kicks more than punches. Yanez is better with the punches and the combinations, but Jonathan Martinez has really fast leg kicks, like he showed against Said Nurmagomedov, really fast body kicks and really fast head kicks, and all three of those Yanez is open to, in my opinion, because Yanez, I think, he loves to KO people.
Well, Yanez is going to have to close that gap.
Yeah,
He's going to have to close that gap.
Yanez loves to stand really close to his opponent, and when you do that, you're open to leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks. I don't like that in the style matchup for Adrian Yanez. But Adrian Yanez clearly has more power. Clearly.
He's got to stand in the phone booth.
Yes,
phone booth.
Yes, he does. So it's like, man, okay, so for me, it makes sense. Like, Jonathan Martinez doesn't have that much power in the hands. Its proof is that he's really, all 5 of his last 5 fights are all really decisions. Except for the Swanson fight, which we just said was from a leg kick, and that's a fluke. You don't knock people out with. And then other than that, he's got 2 other KOs and really just all decisions, right? So a ton of decisions, couple KOs. You know, he's a decision fighter against Yanez. It's not going to be easy to take out Yanez, man. Yanez is a tough guy. Like we said, even though he stands close, he's waiting to counter. He's a killer. All KOs. Or he's out of his 6 wins, 5 KOs in the UFC. Unbelievable.
What do you think about like a double chance, like Martinez by decision or Yanez by KO?
Yeah, that's freaking smart. I like that. It's what is that called in the in the drafting? It's called the
double chance,
alternate double chance.
Yeah.
So there's double chance right next to winning method, and then there's one next to the tab right next to his alternate double chance. And that one you can literally do something like this where you say, okay, Yanez by KO, Martinez by decision.
Yeah.
That's freaking sick. That's a great,
just by going off of how they are finishing people.
Right.
If you just went off of that, I think that could be a smart way to put your money in.
Mm-hmm. So what are we looking at? So this is the other thing. I think Martinez is faster than Yanez. Yanez
kicking?
No, just movement.
Oh, the feet work.
Yeah, footwork.
Okay.
Footwork. Yanez is just kind of like standing in front of you and then waiting to counter with some combinations that can kill you. But Martinez is faster mover. He has to be. He's shorter, less power.
Yanez's hands are way faster.
God, yes. Combinations.
Way more technical, and he can throw.
Yeah, Martinez doesn't.
He's just a great boxer.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
If Martinez comes in kind of quick, Yanez can clip him. You know, that type of thing. He's that type of a guy.
He even clipped Font. And Font's one of the best boxers in this 135.
Mm-hmm. So I think Martinez is faster with the footwork. I think Yanez is open for the leg kicks because Yanez is a little bit slow. I think Martinez is going to be throwing the body kick, the leg kick. I think he's got better IQ and instincts, just in general. Like if it goes to the ground, what to do. He can hold Yanez against the cage and throw some knees and stuff like he did to Said Nurmagomedov and win a messy fight like that. Kind of weird ways to win, but Jonathan has many ways that he can win. Yanez has one way, right? Counter.
Yeah,
it can happen.
I mean, he's not He's not trying to jabbed. He's not trying to be first.
Right.
He's trying to be waiting for you to open up so he can throw that power.
Right. I think Jonathan Martinez, though, overall, has gotten so much better at that distance control and at that shot choice. He's picking the better choices at the right times. He doesn't hit with like big power at all, but he doesn't have complete pillow hands. He does when he hits you. I mean, he broke Said Nurmagomedov's nose. It might have been an elbow against the cage, but regardless, the guy throws with some power.
Yep.
Said is no joke. He's number 14. I thought he was going to be top 10 soon, and Martinez derailed the hype train.
Yes.
In my mind, Said was going to be going for the title soon. That was last year, obviously, but now things maybe changed. But Said's very talented, and Martinez, Said may have won the fight. Judges might have given it to Martinez.
It's going to be a great fight.
It's going to be a great fight. I just feel like the speed of Martinez, the kicks that he's going to be able to land all night, the distance control, the more ways that he can go and do things, operate on the fence, operate on the ground.
I don't know about that distance control because I think he's going to close the gap. Yanez is going to close the gap.
What's the reach on this fight? Hold on. What are the reach?
I think they're both 70.
Is it 70? Yeah, so they're both 70. So in my opinion, Yanez doesn't throw any leg kicks. Yanez is throwing for counters. However, if you're not open to the counter, right, like Yanez might force some stuff, and Martinez might have to start countering. So that's why we're talking about. It's going to be fun. Like, what's Yanez going to do? He's such a killer.
It's going to be a great fight.
Does Yanez go, you know what? I'm sick of these leg kicks. Let's go forward. Because if Yanez wants to go forward, he's a dangerous man.
It's going to be fun to watch.
But at the same time, I also don't like the way that Yanez is striking defense. I didn't like the way that he fought against Font. Like, the way that I like the way he's forward and he's close to somebody if he's throwing, but a lot of times he's waiting and he's too hesitant to counter, and I don't like that about in a firefight. You can't be hesitant.
You can't wait in a phone booth.
Not saying he's gonna wait, but what I saw from the last fight
I'm just saying I've seen that too.
where
he's
hesitant
in that phone booth.
And if you're waiting against, Jonathan Martinez has the heart of a lion. I think he might have the most heart in the UFC. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's not far off.
That's not far off. I'm not even saying that he's like the most talented guy. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is his instinct and his heart, unbelievable. His activity on his back. He's throwing more elbows and punches.
His will beat the.
You guys seen the movie Rudy? This is Mexican Rudy. I'm telling you. It's Mexican Rudy here. It's amazing, man. His aggression, his activity, his ability, and his growth. He's getting better from fight to fight. And his IQ, everything. He's getting more comfortable. Dude, so it's just unbelievable. I think it's going to be a phenomenal fight. Both fighters are so interesting and different than other fighters. Like Martinez with the heart that you've never seen before. Yanez with these unbelievable like counter hooks and combinations and stuff. And Yanez is willing to get hit so he can knock you the hell out.
Yeah,
I'm excited. This is our fight of the night. This is our fight. This is our main event.
Yeah,
and we're very excited for this fight. Yeah,
This is circled on the card. This is gonna be great. Get the popcorn
it's
ready.
So exciting because Martinez just broke into the top 15. Yanez is top 12. We got two ranked fighters. This is super exciting because whoever wins gets to just notch up and get closer to that top 10 spot and really cement their.
They can call out whoever they want.
Literally, they can call out anyone in the top 10 and get the fight. And it's just a great challenge for both fighters because both fighters are on these amazing streaks. Other than the last fight for Yanez, but what we said, he fought Font, who is a guy who should have fought for the title. So it's kind of like I think it was a much bigger step up than what it should have been. You cancel that fight out, and it's like, oh my god, look at these guys' win streaks. This is a phenomenal fight.
Well, there's O'Malley, who's the champ, one of the best boxers.
Yeah.
And then there's Font, and then there's probably Yanez as far as boxing goes.
Oh hell yeah. No, I mean this is true. It's unbelievable. And then Martinez, you got the heart. You got the distance control, the speed, getting better from fight to fight, the activity in all different areas, from the fence to the ground, off the back, wherever. He's always throwing. It's gonna be a hell of a fight, guys. Same reach, so nobody's gonna have any clear advantage as far as their body types. It's just unbelievable. I just can't wait for this fight, and just thank you so much for listening. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you, everybody. We've been drinking MMA. We are on the co-main event of the Yusuff Barboza fight card between Jennifer Maia and Viviane Araujo.
Yes, sir.
Right about that?
Yes, sir.
Araujo. I'm going Jennifer Maia.
Yes, sir.
And this is gonna go the distance.
Hey, man, it's like 95% chance, right, for distance. But this is a backhand. I'm going for Jennifer Maia, and I also believe it's Jennifer Maia. She's minus 140 to make 100, so that's not a bad bet either. Obviously, she's fought for the belt. She's proven, etc. But yeah, it's unbelievable what they're inside the UFC. I just want to do this. Why not? Is literally all decisions for Maia except one. So we're talking about 10 fights by decision, whether it's a winner or a loss, and then she submitted one person, Joanna Wood, about 3 years ago, and so 10 decisions.
What I like
one
about
submission.
Jennifer Maia specifically, she's first to punch, first to grapple, first to whatever she wants to do.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like overpowering things that's going on, and they're both in their mid-30s as in this fight. I mean, I guess that's not terrible, but like, it's not going to be like, oh, it's youth versus older.
No.
But they're both in the same
35
age.
and 36. Araujo is actually 1 year older.
Yeah,
she's 36. But hey, I just want to say, so 10 decisions in the UFC for Jennifer Maia, and then only one went finish, and she submitted Joanne Wood 3 years ago. So 10 decisions out of her 11 UFC fights, and then Araujo is 8 decisions and 1 KO, and her only KO in the UFC was in her first fight. So probably against somebody we never heard of, So it's her first fight. It's probably some other lower level fighter. So ultimately, she's got 8 decisions out of 9 fights in the UFC. Maia's 10 out of 11 decisions. It's going to decision. Yeah, right?
Going the distance, no doubt.
Statistically, and
method of victory is decision.
So now what we got to do is we got to talk about why we're thinking Maia instead of Araujo. So first of all, they're both ranked, but Jennifer Maia has fought for the title. That's a difference. It's a different level right there. Number 2, why we're going with Jennifer Maia, we have to say, is that Jennifer Maia throws way more punches than Araujo.
Yes.
Way more. Araujo also doesn't, like Lousy said, she doesn't throw first almost hardly ever. She's always hesitant and waiting to counter, but she doesn't counter with any power. So what's the point in waiting to counter if you don't have power?
Yes.
It's just you're going to lose to other people in the top 5 that are just more active. And Maia throws probably 2 to 3 times the amount of punches, and she lands like fucking half of them. It's crazy.
Yes.
Jennifer Maia. And she's first. She's first.
The only thing I see Araujo being better at is actually body lock and taking down. But like,
Maia's dangerous off her back though.
But the subs. But she can get up. She can try to sub. But she can. I think she's just a better fighter in general.
Another valid bet would be just going the distance. Because they always go to distance, its chances are, depending on, but the problem is the odds are probably going to be ridiculous. It'll be like so much money to bet just to make something small.
Right.
So that's why Maia in general or Maia by decision is what we're thinking for our bets. But whatever's clever on Wednesday or Tuesday when the props come out.
But Jennifer Maia, regardless, correct?
Yeah, my God, yes. Because look, you look at the striking, and Araujo, even though she has 1.8 takedowns, that's actually not that much unless you got like 2 or even really 2.5 or 3 takedowns a fight on the stats. You're not really that much of a wrestler. It just means that you like counter wrestle, you'll wrestle sometimes, you panic wrestle. It doesn't really anything like 1.5 or anything under 2, not that big of a deal really, unless you're like a specialist. And you see Araujo, like she wasn't great on the ground against Ribas. She wasn't. She's not very fast on the ground. Her control is not very good. So Maia can sub people on the ground. It's not a big deal. It's really going to turn into striking. And listen, Araujo is 0-2 in her last 2 fights. And
Grasso.
Oh yeah, against Grasso though. Yeah, exactly. And then Ribas. But Ribas, is one of those fights where I just wasn't impressed, man. Like she let Ribas control her with the striking, and Ribas really doesn't have much power. So it's going to be bad if you're letting someone like Ribas control you in the stand up and you're not trying to be first at all. Guess what? Someone with Jennifer Maia throwing 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, like Jennifer's going to land, and Jennifer throws leg kicks.
Here's the thing about Araujo.
Yeah.
Against lower level tier fighters, she wins.
Yeah.
Against higher level fighters, she loses.
Right.
And Maia is a higher level, I would say gatekeeper, if you will, because she's kind of the same.
Higher level gatekeeper for Araujo,
yeah.
That's totally fair to say. It's not an insult. She's a good fighter, but problem is, look, let's look at. So we know Araujo is like overall, she'll lose to anyone in the top 10, more or less, and then she has wins over people who are outside of the top 15. She has a win over Montana De La Rosa, who's pretty good. But, she's lost to Jessica I, but then Jennifer Maia beat Jessica I. She's beaten people like Alexis Davis, who's way outside the prime, and then that was her second fight in the UFC. So you look at her wins, it's just not convincing enough to really want to put money on Araujo in a fight like this. And you look at Jennifer Maia, I mean, literally, you look at her record inside the UFC. First fight was a loss to Liz Carmouche. Then she beat Alexis Davis, beat Modafferi, lost to Caitlin Chookagian, who's perennial top 7 in this division. Then she submitted Joanne Wood, fought against Shevchenko, the GOAT, at 125, right? And she had an okay showing, but she just didn't throw as much. Shevchenko was in her prime at the time. She lost by decision, so went all 5, not bad. Then she beat Jessica I, who's the woman who beat Araujo. Then she lost to Chookagian, who's, again, we said perennial top 7. Lost to Manon Fiorot, who beat maybe one of the best fighters at 115, Rose Namajunas, in a close fight. Rose Namajunas dropped Manon Fiorot in the 3rd round. It was a close fight, but Manon won. So she lost a decision to this great fighter, Manon Fiorot. Then she has 2 wins in a row against Moroz and then Casey O'Neill, who's top 12. So Casey O'Neill, good fighter. I would like to see Casey O'Neill versus Araujo. That would have been a good fight.
Yes.
Because that would have been harder to pick, and Casey was, again, more active, throws with more power than Araujo. That would have been a very interesting fight. This fight, to us, it feels like it's kind of a steal here.
Yes.
Because Maia is throwing so much more punches. She's first all the time. Fast footwork.
And you're getting a somewhat good price.
Yeah. No, really good price because Araujo is slow. Maia's fast. Araujo get hit by Ribas. Ribas isn't even a fast striker. Maia's a much faster striker with her punches. So offense goes to Maia. Footwork, speed goes to Maia. Defense, Araujo is blocking punches with her faces sometimes. Yeah. Maia doesn't block punches with her. Maia's technical. So you look at defense, offense, footwork with speed, and you're thinking minus 140, 140 to make 100 on Jennifer Maia. Maia's fought for the belt versus the GOAT and went all 5 rounds. And Araujo has not beaten anyone really that great. We love minus 140 for Jennifer Maia. Yeah. And thank you to the odds makers in Vegas and around the world for allowing this to happen for us.
Throwing us a bone, finally.
Hey, listen, we love money, and we love easy money. That's our favorite type of money. So appreciate you guys for listening.
This is We've Been Drinking MMA, and we are in the main event of
We're here.
The Yusuff versus Barboza.
Wait, hold on.
This is time.
Yes. Knuckle bump. Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna do the buffer. It's time. Main event. Yusuff. I don't even want to say his first name because I don't want to butcher it. It's Yusuff versus Barboza. Edson Barboza. Perennial. He's been, bro. I was looking at his history. He's been in the UFC since I think it's been 2010. I'm not even joking. 13 years. It's insane. Look at this. 2010. He's been in the UFC for 13 years, son.
He's a teenager.
How do you get rid of Barboza though? The guy who's spinning.
He's only 37.
Dude, he's leg kicking people's legs off. He's knocking people out with spinning kicks to their head.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of this guy? So dynamic. Such
What's
a fun
your pick
fighter.
on this one? I'm interested.
My pick is Edson Barboza.
I am gonna live bet this one. So
I love that. I love that choice of going for the live bet. But given a choice with the live bet, who are you looking, or are you just looking for either one, depending?
Well, I want to see if Edson Barboza, in the first couple minutes, if he's going to shoot or if he's trying to strike with this guy.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking for. Maybe I should have waited for our live bet situation.
No, that's cool. But I mean, you're thinking kicks wise, good. But if he wants to exchange, you're saying, with punches.
In every single one of Yusuff's fights, he's out-volumed, outstruck the other guy. Every single one of his fights.
He does have 5.3 significant strikes landed per minute, and Barboza only has 4.
Not that 4 is nothing.
But let me tell you this. Barboza has a 4-inch reach advantage, son. 75-inch versus 71 for Yusuff, so that's huge. But he is 37 years old. So I'm just.
If I were to pick just off the cuff, I'm going to pick the youth over the experience, so I'm going to go Yusuff.
Yusuff for me is a guy can knock people out for sure. Knock people out, and he's got 7 wins in the UFC with 1 loss. But in reality, if you look at it, he only really has 2 KOs in the UFC. He submitted Dos Chairez in the last fight, but I think that guy just didn't belong, and Yusuff showed that he didn't belong. So my point is
very quickly,
who has Yusuff beat, right? My point is he had a decision win over Alex Caceres 2 fights ago. Caceres is good, but he's not top 15. He got a decision win over Andre Fili, good fighter. No, no disrespect or anything, but it's a decision win over Fili. Other than that, he KO'd Benitez. Who's Benitez? Don't know. So that's my point, is that he hasn't proven against anybody, and you're going against someone like Barboza, who's fought the best of the best. He's fought everybody, hasn't he? Khabib, the GOAT. He's fought everybody.
The who's who.
Tony Ferguson. He's fought everybody. I mean, I'm not saying he's beaten everybody. But look, this is why I'm going with Edson Barboza. Edson Barboza, first of all, Yusuff is the favorite, and rightfully so, because he's on the rise, and Barboza has been a little bit spotty over the last, let's say, 7 fights. He's 3-4. Barboza is 3-4 in his last 7, whereas you look at Yusuff, it's a clean record of 7-1 or 6-1 or 7-1.
But that's the competition
level of competition. And that's the reason why Barboza has some losses. And anyways, the reason I'm going with Barboza is he's the faster fighter. He's the more technical fighter. Defense is up for debate because Yusuff goes forward and he's got kind of weird angles, so it's hard to defend against that. So he's just, what are you going to do about that, man? You're just going to hopefully speed out of there and hopefully kick him. But anyways, Barboza has the speed. He's got the kicks, obviously, over basically everybody. Yusuff has good kicks, strong kicks, but they're not nearly as fast as Barboza's, obviously. Yusuff has the better, bigger power in the strikes, no doubt. And then Barboza keeps slightly better distance lately because of his age, his experience. He doesn't just rush in like he used to as much. He does have a loss in his last 4. Let's just look at his last 4, right? Because that's what really matters. He's 2-2. He KO'd Billy Quarantillo in his last fight, and Quarantillo we have respect for, but Quarantillo is slow. And then Shane Burgos, he KO'd him with that freaky knockout where he punched him over the top with a technical over the overhand, and Burgos literally was like, all right, hopping around, and then all of a sudden he just went backwards into the fence and went down, and Barboza another 1 punch or 2, and Burgos was completely out, but it was a weird knockout. But anyways, my point is Burgos is slow and Quarantillo is slow, and that's why the KOs happened. Now, against faster fighters like Bryce Mitchell, who's a fast grappler, it was a harder fight for Barboza because Mitchell was fast. Giga Chikadze, he did get TKO'd. So he decision lost to Mitchell. He got TKO'd 3 fights ago by Giga Chikadze because Giga Chikadze at the time was on the rise. Giga Chikadze has power in his hands and his feet versus Barboza doesn't have as much power in the hands as the feet. So Giga had the better kickboxing overall. He was just as fast as Barboza, and he just had a bigger arsenal. So it just ended up being a TKO for Giga, and he was a fast fighter. Now, the reason I'm going through all that boring history is that the 2 losses he has is against fast fighters. The 2 KO victories he has is against slow fighters. The reason I'm bringing that up is because Yusuff is, in my opinion, not a fast fighter. He's just not. He plants his legs. He's a good, decent mover for a slow guy, but obviously he's looking to counter and do some big damage.
Barboza's more technical.
Yeah, but the reason I'm saying is that Yusuff is slow, and Barboza does great against slow guys. Proof is, of course, those 2 KOs in the last 4 fights against slower competition. Now, Yusuff is a guy who stands too close, in my opinion. Barboza is keeping better distance. So Barboza has the better distance control. Barboza has the much better footwork, much better speed. Yusuff stands too close, so he's going to get leg kicked all night versus Barboza. Barboza doesn't even have to throw hands with Yusuff. On top of that, Barboza keeps his hands up. Yusuff has interesting angles, I'll say that. So it's not going to be easy to hit Yusuff with punches. Also, Barboza doesn't have much power on the punches, but he did knock out Burgos, but it was kind of a weird knockout. But anyways, so obviously the punching power advantage goes to Yusuff, but Barboza can still hurt you, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have pillow hands here. So you can still hurt Yusuff, and Yusuff's head is open, but Yusuff does weird angles, so it's not going to be easy to hit him. I understand that. It's going to be an interesting fight, but I believe Barboza is going to be leg kicking Yusuff all night, body kicking even. Yusuff is too slow to check the leg kicks, in my opinion. He stands too close. He's a slow fighter. Barboza is going to leg kick him all night, get in and out. His distance control is better because of his experience, and that's why I'm going with Barboza. But Yusuff is dangerous, man. He's got some heavy overhand counters that are just blinding fast for a heavy, slow guy. He's a tank. He's a killer. And it's going to be a very fun, interesting fight. Yusuff is rightfully the favorite because he has the record right now. But again, it's against who? And Barboza has fought the best of the best his whole career, basically. So, I'm going with Barboza, but it's going to be a fun fight. Yusuff with the youth at the age of 30 versus Barboza at the age of 37. I believe Barboza is having a resurgence, though. Proof is obviously the KO over Billy Q. Like, those reactions are still there. The way he KO'd Billy Q was the way he KO'd Beneil Dariush, who was in line for a shot against Makhachev for the belt. but he got KO'd by Oliveira. So my point is that Barboza has a KO win with a flying knee over Beneil Dariush, and he also had that same flying knee type KO versus in his last fight. So he hasn't lost a step like people might be thinking. Obviously, he had some rough patches where he was trying to figure out his punching, figure out the defense, figure out the distance. I believe he's done that. I believe he's made the corrections, and I believe he will be the new gatekeeper, for lack of a better phrase, for the new youth. I just don't think Yusuff is ready for the speed, the leg kicks, the footwork, the timing, the defense. It's gonna be a hell of a fun fight for the main event, but I am gonna put money on Barboza.
Let's go. I like it.
Let's go. It's going to be a super interesting fight. And I love the live bet, buddy, because you're right, though. Ultimately, it is dangerous. If Barboza just goes, listen, young guy, I'm going to throw some punches with you. That's not smart. You know, he'll get KO'd. Trust me. Yeah. If you decide to just go punch with Yusuff, not as smart. And Yusuff the angles are very different. And it's not easy to time Yusuff. So
show the
he's a shark. He's a freaking shark. And if you think you're going to go, I'm going to throw a little punch, level change, boom, hook. You know, I can see that happening too. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. Yusuff is what, minus 170, I think, in this fight. Let me look at it real quick. I know that he is the favorite. He is minus 165. Minus 165. So, honestly, a live bet is actually kind of brilliant, just because if Barboza decides to exchange with punches, you just don't want to do that with Yusuff. If you underestimate Yusuff at all, you can get knocked out.
Yeah.
And if Barboza goes, I'm way faster than him, you know, and he goes for like a couple of punches when he shouldn't, Yusuff can easily counter with a massive overhand. And so I think it is smart. That's a brilliant because listen,
if he shows his level changes, if he tries to grapple and take him down, then put your money on Barboza. But if you see him try to like
just punch,
stand in the
let's throw combos with, like, you don't want to throw combos with a killer.
You don't want to brawl with this guy.
No, I would say I'm looking for Barboza. Another way to bet him is what I'm saying is Barboza to be looking for more leg kicks and body kicks, and then look for technical counters with hands up and backing up, backing out, going for check hooks, things like that, just to be safe.
Yeah.
You have the speed advantage, you have the leg kick advantage, you have the head movement, all that stuff, all the advantages, but if you decide to trade in a phone booth, you will get knocked out. Yeah. That's the danger. So I think it's a genius move by Lousy to wait to see if Barboza wants to throw punches and bunches in exchange. Not a good idea. I would ditch the bet if that's your strategy. And if he wants to leg kick, stay on the outside, that's when he can win. Right? So, you know, that's basically and just counter, you know, on the outside, be smart with the speed and movement, then you can win. So let's kind of see his strategy, and I might even end up waiting, but I know that my point is I'm going to be betting early. If I see Barboza like leg kicking, I'm like, okay, boom, I'm putting it on, because I want the plus money. I want the underdog money. But even if Barboza becomes, let's say, minus 150, Lousy doesn't have a problem, because he's like, okay, experience, speed, footwork, all that. Let's go with Barboza. So Lousy's making a genius move here and being super, what do you call it? Not going to say conservative, but super.
It's pretty conservative.
It's conservative, but it's like super defensive, super smart. He's being like a counterattacker here, fucking genius, and he's waiting for what he wants to see in this fight. And honestly, it's a great idea. And for me, what I might do is put like a medium-sized small bet on Barboza. Just by winning, you know, outright, plus 140, so 100 to make 140. And then in the fight, when I see Barboza doing smart things and I like his tactics, maybe put a little bit more money. And that's what I'm thinking about doing with the Edson Barboza bet. So this is a bet that you can make in so many different ways. It's going to be damn fun to see, and I can't wait for it.
Yep. So, like, subscribe, comment. Thanks, everybody.